This is the TSLA 1 month overview reading for the month of January 2025. It's currently December 26, 2024, 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I believe Kwanzaa started today, so I'm not sure if they say Happy Kwanzaa. Have a good Kwanzaa, or I don't know. I excuse my ignorance, guys. I'll have to look it up. But in any case, the TSLA shares are currently $454.13. Guys, this stock. I had people in this stock at $20. $20. There's records that prove it. I had people in this stock at $20. In any case, the shuffle file for the January reading was created on February 5th, 2024 at 12:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Yet another one of the January monthlies that I threw down in February of 2024 with the intent to get 1 year ahead. And lo and behold, here I am at the end of the year, almost 1 month behind. It's so crazy how much we've grown and how much demand there is now towards the end of the year. I said 2024 was going to be our year. It definitely was our year, but I think 2025 is going to trump that one like substantially. So if you're new to the channel, what I'm going to go through in this video, we're going to go over the overall trend direction for January, or chart behavior for January. We're going to talk about behavior around the month's highest high. We're going to talk about chart behavior around the month's lowest low. We're even going to go through the day-by-day sequence of chart events as expected. Now, it's important to understand that not each card's energy will line up perfectly with one day of time. So there may be cases where in one of these monthly readings, you need to give it plus or minus a day here or there of wiggle room. So it's important to understand it's a sequence of chart events as outlined by the prediction that is the most important part. And then we're going to review the December 2024 reading, see how we're doing thus far. We'll come back to test January 2025 and give you one of the best trades that we see for the month. And then at the end of that, guys, I'll show you guys how to get the upgrade to this. If you're serious about trading SO meta-analysis, which, my God, if you knew how powerful this stuff is, you would be. So hopefully you already know that. And if you're serious about it, guys, the next level up on trading, thank you, Hermes, is going to be through our monthly subscription that gives you access to Tesla and a bunch of other tickers, live Discord trade alerts, live updated trading view charts. So all that stuff, we're going to show you how to get that at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. So the overall theme of behavior for January, first off, let's take a look at the 1 month. This is 2025 Tesla, which look for this reading to come out relatively soon after the January reading, not too distant future. But we have a pretty significant move to the upside to start early January. There's a full card opportunity at the low and a big move to the downside into a prominent trough in the later part of January. An important price level highlighted at resistance there. And we've got that as a cross-reading congruency. We've got the failure card as a cross-reading congruency. This is a strong reading, guys. So overall theme, we're rallying notably on probably a 1 year chart scale. The rally in January should stand out. However, it does look like it turns over either in the following month or at some point in this month. That's the tricky thing about ACEs. It's crossed with the Princess of Discs, indicating a notable opportunity to take profits on Tesla. That's on like a 1 year chart kind of scale, most likely. Interesting. At least a multi-day scale. Chart behavior around the highest high for the month of January. We should see a rally into key resistance. And then from that resistance, we should break down with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. And those spikes up will act as, or the moving averages usually act as the resistance for those spikes up. Usually the moving averages will be in bearish formation. Behavior around the lowest low for the month. We should see an overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels. This will really stand out, guys. There's a unicursal hexagram secondary correlation there indicated by that black star. So we should see a sharp drop on a multi-day scale into the low, and very likely it could easily be from like the month's high straight into like declining straight into the month's low. And I say that because when you have the satiety card in the low significator position, it's coming from an overbought crest, the decline into the low. So often the overbought crest is near the high, right? So something to be mindful of there. All right, now I'm going to give you the day-by-day sequence of chart events. Before I do that, I want to make sure everybody's aware of the rule of karma for the channel. It's the whole purpose of the channel. The rule of karma for the channel, the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following through on the rule of karma, and we do that here at the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, also probably stockmarketpsychic.com at this point. 5% of all profits from the information on this channel should be donated forward to one of the charities down here. All you do is click here and donate. It's so easy. 5% of the profits should be donated back to the channel through one of these links. Zelle is the best way if you're in the US. If you're international, you can use Wise to send money, or you can use any of these crypto receiving codes. Great ways to support the channel. It's really the right thing to do, guys, because most of this content we are putting out, for free. So that 90% left over is way more than any stockbroker or financial professional is going to leave you with, whether or not they helped you make money. We're taking 5% of the profits, so we only make money, period, if you make money, and we're leaving it to you to be the right kind of person, to have integrity and understand that's worth. The integrity's worth more than the money you're making, my friend, and hopefully you've discovered that in this lifetime. If you haven't, I hope for you, my friend. All right, so let's get back into it. Oh, thank you, Hermes. So, all right, first off, coming out of December, Hermes, there's very likely to be a sharp drop right here in the last day, and I say that into like a low. There might even be like a return back to a resistance at the high. It's hard to say, but we've got like a sharp drop right on the cusp here somewhere, plus or minus a day of the end of the month. And I would look for that sharp drop. I wouldn't want to chase that sharp drop because the first trading day of January looks to be significantly bullish, especially towards the later part of the day. We have a rally that pushes the upper end of a range higher, a lot of price change into a peak at the later in the day. Then there's a peak on the 3rd that we turn over, like a peak that we sell off from pretty notably on a multi-day scale. Likely we are going to open higher on the 6th, and then that rally, whatever rally it could have started at the end of the day on the 3rd out of that decline, or maybe it's a gap up, or maybe it's just a bit of a rally early in the day on the 6th. Either way, that rally is halted by a sharp decline through key support, taking us into a prominent trough on a 1-month scale. We then have a failed attempt to break through key resistance. Excuse me, guys. We have a failed attempt to break through key resistance, followed by a decline through key support. It looks like it's a rally into this key resistance around the cusp of the 7th, 8th, and it looks like we're going to break through based on some sort of technicals preceding this failed attempt. Instead, it's very disappointing. We turn around and we decline through key support to reach a support level on a multi-day scale that's recently a past opportunity, probably before midday on the 8th. So that looks like a relatively sharp drop there from a peak towards the cusp of the 7th, 8th into a trough midday on the 8th. We have a pop and a drop, or a prominent move higher and a full retracement on the 9th. And then that full retracement on the 9th taking us into a trough in the morning on the 10th, from which we have a sideways fluctuating rally preceding a decline. Looks like that sideways fluctuating rally very likely continues into the 13th. Okay, Hermes, go over here, buddy, you little whiner. Sorry, guys. He's like a little toddler. Everybody loves you, though, Hermes, Everybody loves you, especially me. So in any case, we have that rally probably continue into the 13th, either with like more movement over the weekend, or it just continues in the morning on the 13th. But I'm advised to be cautious there. That rally very likely turns over from a prominent peak on a 1-month scale, turns over on the 13th. Decline continues into the 14th, out of which there's a big move out of the decline from the bottom of the range to the top of the range, probably taking place right on the move to the upside, taking place out of a trough just around the cusp of the 14th, 15th. We successfully find support on the 15th. Now that doesn't always mean it's you know, to the upside. It could be to the downside. It just means that we found support. So let me see here. It looks like it's support to the downside there. Come here, Goof. You want to come back? The 15th is pretty tricky read, guys. A lot of price change there, and it may be that we go to the upside followed by a move to a lower price level towards the end of the day on the 15th. Hard to say. That coin there could be really tied to a significator card rather than a timeline. Hard to say. But we do have sideways rotation out of that support on the 16th, and there should be another sharp drop into some sort of trough on the 16th. Erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level on the 17th. Another market holiday on the 20th. I believe is that Martin Luther King Day? I believe it's Martin Luther King Day. We're not editing, so I'm not gonna waste my time looking this up. But I'm pretty sure it is. Somebody can confirm for me in the comments, please. On the 21st, the decline through multiple support levels. This will be one of the bigger declines of the month. And it looks like there is a resistance level on the 22nd that's highlighted that we failed to break through many times before. Usually there's a sharp decline out of it. So there might be a decline from that resistance level starting on the 22nd, but definitely by the 23rd, we have decline through multiple support levels, turning into a U-shaped dip on the 14th, with probably a peak right around the end of the day on the 14th. A gap down on over the weekend, and then on the 27th, a rally through resistance. We stay above it briefly, break back down through it shortly thereafter, into a somewhat of a trough. There's an important support level on a one-year chart scale highlighted on the 28th, and this is usually support that can be relied upon or trusted. Not always, but usually. There's a resistance level cross-trading congruency here on the 29th, where usually we'll flatten out around that resistance with the peace card. And then on the 30th, we have a big move to the upside, reaching for distant resistance and taking us to a prominent peak. Most likely a prominent peak here on the 29th as well, but another prominent peak here on the 30th after that big move reaching for distant resistance. And then we have a rally that turns over on the 31st. So it creates like a crest type of chart pattern on the 31st. The fortune card for February, I mean, at first glance, that can mean many things. It could mean a peak. It could mean a major reversal. What's interesting is that it's also a cross-reading congruency, because here in February, the late February card is the fortune card, right? So it's something very, very significant is likely to take place in February around a reversal, probably to the upside. Yeah. And what I'm sensing in a lot of these 2025 readings between January and February is a high, a sharp drop, and then like almost a full retracement or some. Really, really fast between January and February. So guys, I'm trying to get through these readings as fast as possible so that you guys can take advantage of this stuff. But really, you should not trade this info unless you have the monthly subscription. That is where you'll get the most up-to-date information. These are guidelines of expectations, right? If you want to pull the trigger on trades, you need that monthly access subscription. And I'll show you again how to get that at the end of the video. So one of the best trades that I see, if you do insist on trading like on your own here, guys, it's important to understand. I'll give you the entry and the exit, like the date of the entry, the date of the exit, and then I'm going to give you chart behavior leading into the entry point. This is like a litmus test. If the chart behavior leading into the entry point does not transpire as expected, that's a clear indication not to enter this trade, because we do have failed trade, guys. We're not right all the time. Please don't think that. Never once have we ever claimed that. That would just be that would just be preposterous. We're close though. Yeah. Okay. So there's a pretty solid trade in here. On the at the end of the day on the second, if we when we see that we push the upper end of a range higher, this would be on like a multi-day kind of chart scale with 1 day candlesticks. If we push the upper end of a range higher, especially with a big move to the upside towards the end of the day, that's where you enter into the trade. And we're looking to exit that trade. Matter of fact, you could probably enter it. You could probably exit that trade the very next day. There's a couple backups. One possibly on the 7th, but more likely on the 8th. All right, so that's the basics of it. But what we want to see. Thank you, Hermes. What we want to see is a sharp drop taking place somewhere around the 30th, 31st. And then a big move to the upside, probably to revisit. Like the sharp drop probably comes from an important resistance level on a multi-day scale or even on a 1-year chart scale, right? It declines, and then we should return to it there on the 31st. If you don't see that sharp behavior leading into this big move higher, pushing the upper end of range higher on the 2nd, I would not enter this trade, but you could look to enter into a short position and then close that short position the following day, probably at the end of the day on the 3rd. And if that doesn't end up being an exit or you miss that exit, I would say the next exit is going to be on the 8th, when we decline from a peak to revisit a trough that was recently a past opportunity. And that's the secondary backup. But rule of thumb when trading SO meta-analysis, you never want to wait for the last exit. You want to use it as a necessity, only in a necessity. Go for the earliest exit. Who cares if you leave money on the table? You just made money. Now take that money and multiply it again. Who cares about, the max gain? That is not professional trading. Professional trading is looking for entry and exit, and reliable entry and exit, getting in and out, and not messing around with the shenanigans. Oh, how high could we go? Oh, how high could we go? That's a fool's errand in a lot of cases. Maybe not with a psychic, but still. It's a smart way to trade, guys. And what I've found from all the people I've talked to, throughout my years in finance, those of us that take our profits early tend to make a lot more money than people that don't take them early. I'd say those of us that take our profits too early, you would say, tend to make more money over the long time. Something to think about. We never went through December, so let me take a look at that real quick. This actually looks like a really solid reading, guys. A really solid reading. We had a low for the month on the 1st, 2nd. And you can see we absolutely nailed that there. We were a little off on the entry. Expected it to be lower. But we did have this low take place right here. Oh, sorry. A low on the 2nd, 3rd. And we had this low here on the 3rd. So pretty much nailed that. And then that took us into... We had a highest high on the 16th was what I expected, with the possibility of maybe the 17th based on the ace of discs, and it looks like that did end up being the case. And then there was even possibility of seeing it again in the following week. We had this sharp drop on the 18th, nailed that. Wasn't so much of not as much of a breakout as I would have expected there on the 19th. And then we had like this pop and drop on the 20th. Then we move into like rally mode. Looks like we were a day off there, but like that rune right there is like this big move, a strength move from the bottom of a range to the top of a range. So we're right back to the upper end of a range there. We've also entered into this area where I have guidelines. This is an example of what you get with the live Discord trade alerts, where I update the drawings with instructions, right? So like this was these ellipses were drawn 11/28, guys. So like a month, basically just under a month ago, expecting to exit out at these price levels. And so we basically entered into that. Probably people are following along. The more speculative you are, the longer you will have waited. But this is solid stuff, guys. Solid stuff. And so we very, very likely will see on the 27th another high up here. And then there's probably a bit of an opportunity on the 30th, 31st. So basically, anybody who's got the monthly access subscription, they have the Discord channel, the Discord live Discord trade alert channel for Tesla, as well as a live chat where they can ask questions for Tesla. And in that Discord trade alert channel, there's also the link, which I copy and paste, giving them anytime access at any time, whenever they need it, to this live chart. If I make changes, they see those changes. I mean, these are game-changing services, guys. So with all that said, I'll show you guys how to get that. You go to our website, Terra for Traders. You hover over Order Now. Click on Subscriptions. Monthly access subscription gets you access to all of the S&P 500 stuff that we do, but also gets you access to the monthly version of Apple, Amazon, Bitcoin, Gold, Google, Meta, Nvidia, Oil, SHIB, Sol, Theta, Tesla, VIX, XRP, and then sometimes I have one-offs monthlies, like I'm covering QUBT in January as well. All that stuff is covered, and you have the access to the Discord trade alert channels and the live updated trading view charts for all of those tickers. This is $300 a month, guys, vastly underpriced. Want to keep it affordable. At the same time, we have to take care of the channel, right? So there's a lot that goes into this channel. If you think it's just me, you'd be mistaken, my friends. There's a team at work here. So much love and appreciation to everybody that goes and does that. That's the public content for Tesla in January 2025. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go. You know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one.